To make this pendant, we're using a beautiful focal bead that's round and has iridescent painting on it, just gorgeous. We also have 2 bicone beads, and then we have an assortment of bead caps in copper, different sizes and patterns, 2 bead caps, and then a daisy spacer. We also have a tiny copper bead that's faceted, and we have 2 head pins in copper. One head pin is flat on the end and the other has a loop. We've got some rat tail cording to put our pendant on. And finally, for tools, we have chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, and wire cutters. To make this pendant, the first thing we're going to do is take our head pin that has the loop on the end, and we're basically going to assemble our pendant by combining all of our bead caps and our beads into a nice little stack. So the first thing I'm doing here is sliding on one of my bead caps, and I'm going to slide it on so it's face down, so it's sort of cupping that little ring that's at the end of my head pin. Then I'm going to slide on my decorative bead. This is a gorgeous painted bead that we found at a bead show, and we just think it makes for a fantastic pendant, and it's really the star of the show here. The next thing we're going to do is take another bead cap, and this time we're going to face it so that it's sort of resting on top of the bead. Now we'll take our daisy spacer and put that on top. And you can see that essentially what we've done is just raided our bead stash, grabbed some bead caps and spacers and things and findings that are the same metal-ish. This one's slightly more antique-y than this copper. And we're just mixing them up together to make this interesting pendant. Now we've got a teal green bicone. We'll slide on here, and this is just to add a little color and also add a little sparkle. And then we're going to finish that with a tiny faceted copper bead on the top, just like that. And now what I'm going to do to make this into a pendant is make a wrapped loop at the top of my last bead here. To do that, I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to grasp the wire right there above that bead, bend the head pin wire 90 degrees toward me. I'm going to reposition the pliers to the top of that bend, and I'm going to pull the wire around this top jaw, but I want to make sure that I make a large enough loop that I can fit a piece of rat tail through this, or it's like silk or satin cording. So I don't want to be way down here at the end of my round nose pliers. I want to move up just a little bit so that I can make a slightly bigger loop. So I'm going to go up and over that top jaw. I'm going to reposition the pliers so they're in the bottom jaw is in that loop, and I'm going to go ahead and pull my wire around. And now I've got a finished loop. And what I can do now is wrap the loop. And I'm going to just pull the end of that wire around the neck 2 times. And because I don't have a lot of wire left there, because this head pin isn't super long, I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to kind of pull the wire around so that I can finish my little wrap. That's a nice little cheat you can always do. I'm going to kind of press the wire down so that I've got 2 wraps. I'm pressing that down, and it looks like I don't even need to trim my end, but if your end is sticking out a little bit, you can just use your flush cutters or wire cutters and just trim that end. Now what I want to do is add a little dangle to the bottom of my pendant, and to do that I'm going to use my other head pin, the one with the flat little end. I'm going to slide on my bicone bead, and then I'm going to make another wrapped loop just like I did before, only this time I'm going to catch the wrapped loop into the bottom of that loop that's on here so that it'll dangle. So to do that, I've got my round nose pliers. Just like I did before, I'm going to make a 90-degree bend, reposition my pliers to the top of that bend, pull the wire up and around the top jaw, reposition my pliers, and finish the loop, but I'm not going to wrap that loop yet. So there's my loop. Instead of wrapping it now, what I'm going to do is slide that onto the bottom of my pendant here. so that it nestles down in the bottom of that other little loop. And then I'm going to wrap the loop. To do that, I'm just going to hold across the loop I made with my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab the tail of my head pin wire and I'm going to pull it around 2 times, like that. And now what I want to do is trim the end. And to do that, I'm going to hold this so that I can see where I'm trimming here. Hold on, there we go. And I want to trim as close to the work as I can without cutting through what I just wrapped, like that. And now we've got a gorgeous pendant, and all we have to do is slide it onto our rat tail cord. And if your cording is fraying like that and doesn't want to go through your little loop, what you can do is just cut it at a little bit of an angle, like this, using really sharp scissors. And that'll let you feed it through there. And then you can grab onto it to pull it through, like that. And I'm just going to slide it to the middle of my cording. My rat tail, I don't know why they call it rat tail, but it's a funny name, but you can at least remember it. Slide it to the middle like that, and then I'm just going to tie a knot in the other end of my rat tail, just an overhand knot like this. And now I can wear this beautiful pendant as a long necklace.